Hey, Jane.
Hey, everyone, this is Jane at Barlow Herbal, and I've got Dr. Barry Rose with me here today. And we actually had the pleasure of meeting last month. We met over the phone first, and I was on his podcast, which was a lot of fun. And then we got to meet in person at a mastermind that we were both at last month. And I have realized some amazing things about this doctor that I would love to share with you. Now, I have a book that was sent to me by Dr. Barry Rose. This is his book called The Cutting Edge of Compassion. And I'm going to ask Barry, Dr. Rose, a few things. And I want to just read you his bio really quick because I think that the messages that he provides for us is a beautiful blending of Western and Eastern medicine. So let me start with your bio here, Barry. So hang on tight.
Right.
Okay, so Dr. Barry Rose is an orthopedic surgeon who was born in 1953 and raised in Kansas City. He attended the University of Kansas for undergraduate studies and completed medical school, his internship, and his residency at the University of Kansas Medical Center. He also completed a hand upper extremity fellowship at the University of California in San Diego. He is currently the chief of orthopedics and the surgical division head for the Alameda division of the Palo Alto Foundation Medical Group. Dr. Rose is passionate about his patients and the future of healthcare. He lives in San Francisco with his wife, Rose. So yes, he married a woman named Rose, and she is Rose Rose, which I've become very good friends with your wife, which is amazing. So, Dr. Rose, what I love about your message is that we find people that are in the traditional medical model and they're completely against natural medicine, and we find people that are in the natural or Eastern medical model and they stay as far away from as they can from allopathic or Western traditional medicine. And just from the conversations you and I have had, we both believe that these two modalities need to marry each other. So that's why I really, really love that you're an orthopedic surgeon and your message is about compassion. So let's just click right in here. So maybe give us a brief description. I read your book, and I know your story through medical school and your journey through even childhood, and a little bit of alcoholism touched your family, which it touches a lot of our families. So maybe give us a brief description about you, your journey to where you are right now.
Well, thank you. Your comments were wonderful, as always. I am a guy that grew up in a little bit of a dysfunctional family, learned how to be a caregiver very early, and probably not the best kind of caregiving for a teenager, but then figured out a way to turn it to the more appropriate way to help take care of folks. And luckily, I picked a profession where when somebody breaks their arm or leg or hurts their knee or shoulder or hand and they can't use it, I get to intervene in a short period of time and I get to get them better. And there's really not a lot of choices. If your arm's bent 90 degrees, you got to straighten it. You can't really go to a different modality to get it straight. You got to kind of fix it. And so it's very gratifying to do that. But at the same time, certain people have a lot of fear about how they're treated and taking medicines and whatever. And I luckily married an incredible woman, Rose, as you already alluded to, that really hasn't been pleased with a lot of the traditional Western medicine type of modalities, and has always been looking at more of the Eastern and spiritual ways to get one better, which was very eye-opening to me and very helpful to sort of help me develop who I am and how I approach patients. And, it's different strokes for different folks. And so I could say to somebody, you need to take this medicine, and they would rather say, I'd rather take an herb, or I'd rather take some other naturopathic type of medicine, or I'd rather just meditate or do something else. The reality is the most important part about getting somebody well is intervening the right way, and also giving the patient, you have to communicate with the patient to find out what really works for them. And that takes some time, it takes some effort, it takes some communication between the physician and the patient to really understand their personality, and the patient then hopefully connects with you and gets out of fear. And if you can get them out of the fear place, it helps you heal better. So that's number one to me. The connection is incredibly important. And then you give them choices. There's a huge gap between Eastern and Western medicine. And I think if you can get the best of Western medicine and the best of Eastern medicine in somebody's treatment, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, one of the things I remember when I was on your podcast last month that we talked about at the very end was we both have this vision of Eastern and Western medicine marrying, and a patient going into a facility where if they have to have a surgery, that it's available. And if they choose to do something that's completely alternative, they want to go in a hyperbaric chamber, they want to do ozone therapy, they want to do infrared sauna, whatever it is, that everything is there in the same place, and nobody's fighting against each other. Because I'm sure, there's people on my side, if I've got a side and you've got a side, who are like, oh, I would never trust allopathic medicine, and I would never step foot in their doors. And in reality, the brilliance of medical technology can save our life. It can improve our life. I mean, if you look at the good things, there's so many good things to both. So that was one of the things that really stuck out to me when you and I were talking that very first time. So let me ask you a couple things that are in your book, because I know we could talk about this for a long time because there's a lot of really great information.
Hours and hours.
Hours, yeah. So we want people to open up this video and not see that it's 2 hours long and they'll stick with us. So one of the things that I really love is that you wrote in here, and I want to read this, is understanding the emotional and spiritual needs of patients and integrating other alternative healers and their expertise into our medical knowledge is the essence of compassionate care. So can you expand on that a little bit? Because I love that. So
I'll expand on it from a personal place. Okay. I think this example is a really good example. When I wrote this book, I did talk a lot about this. And then after my book was written, I happened to get diagnosed with a neck cancer and had to undergo successfully, but recently had to undergo pretty radical radiation and chemotherapy to cure myself. At the time, I thought, should I do traditional Western? Should I do Eastern? Didn't know exactly what to do. I knew my cure was going to be close to 100% with the traditional Western, but the treatment was very, very difficult. And in the process, I ended up meditating. I ended up seeing energy healers. I ended up going to acupuncturists. I took nutritional supplements, herbs. I did whatever I could do on the other side of it, mainly at the suggestion of my wife, who was an incredible patient advocate. And I found out later that 90% of the people that undergo my treatment can't finish it. They have to take a break. I got through it in one sweep. And I ended up probably in about the top 10% of the people that get through it. Now, why? I don't know why, but I got to tell you that it has to be the fact that I had a positive connection with the people that were helping me. I stayed at a positive energy place, and I did a lot of Eastern modality to try to keep me at the best possible place that I could be. And it helped me tremendously. Everybody needs to have that option. I agree. And luckily, I had access to it. My wife was an advocate for it. But if a Western physician was trained about knowing about these other alternatives things that they could do in addition, we could only get better.
Yeah, that would be such.
It's not about cancer. It's about an injury. It's about heart disease. It's about a hurt shoulder. It's about hypertension. It's about stress. It's about anything. There's ways to get your stress down, like by meditating instead of taking an antidepressant. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Yes. So there's a lot of different ways to go about helping somebody heal. And I think it's time that we all are open-minded and we work together to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. You have to just take the best of both. And, it needs to really come back down to what's best for the patient, what's best for the person. So let's talk about personal responsibility on the part of the patient. So, how would you address that in a nutshell?
So patients need to be able to figure out how to advocate for themselves. After my treatment, I'm writing another book, and I plan on doing a platform about patient advocacy because I saw that there was some care's really disjointed now. I mean, it used to be that your family doctor 20 or 30 years ago, if you got sick, they called all the consultants. They conversed with the consultants. If you went to the hospital, they went to the hospital with you. It doesn't happen anymore. It's all pretty much disjointed care. And many times people aren't talking to each other. So a patient has to be able to advocate for themselves or have a family member with them or a friend or somebody that can. And that's number one, most important. You can't just totally accept everything without thinking about it, without asking. Things happen and you get stressed and you get into a place of fear. You got to get out of that fear place. And the only way to do it is to ask lots and lots of questions. Are there any other alternatives? What if I did this? What if I did that? And in fact, here's another example. When I first was diagnosed, I thought about, should I do Western? Should I do Eastern? I had some healers I knew that wanted to send me a bunch of herbs and supplements, said don't do any of the Western stuff. And I was really confused. So one day I called my oncologist, or I texted him and I said, who is a friend? And I said, will you please give me a buzz when you get some free time? I have some questions. He immediately got back with me. And for the next hour, I must ask him 15 or 20 questions. At the end, he helped clear everything up so that I really felt comfortable. I felt I was making the right decision. And I was able to talk about it. And I said, thank you so much. I'm sure you have a lot of people that take up a lot of your time asking a lot of questions. And I appreciate the time you gave to me. And he says, actually not. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, about 2% of the people that go through treatment like yours ask questions. I said, what does everybody else do? And he said, I don't know what they do. They either accept it, they stay in a fearful place. And I thought, wow, these patients are either in shock or they're in fear or they just go along. And if you don't understand or you can't ask the right questions to help yourself, you can't get to a better place very easily. You can't heal as easily as being in a positive energy place. So the first thing I'd love to do is teach patients how to advocate to themselves. And then I'd love to come up with a system where we have semi-retired nurses, doctors, healthcare professionals, allied health, all kinds of practitioners trained in patient advocacy in all the different areas so that if a patient needs somebody as an advocate, they can hire him or can be part of an insurance system where they can get somebody to help them navigate the system, which is really difficult now.
Yeah, it is difficult. I agree. In fact, I think one of the things I love most about what you just said is that you were in a place of fear and you're a medical doctor. Right. And this is your realm of comfort.
Right. And I was at a place where things didn't happen the way they could have happened. And there was some real deficiencies, even for a physician. And I had to navigate it. And I was wowed by that. I mean, it wasn't cut and clear. And different people had different opinions and different ideas about how to approach this or that. And some of the problems that developed along the treatment care protocols. And I don't know what a person that doesn't know how to advocate themselves would do in that situation. Well, no one should be in that situation.
Yeah, well, I think what happens with most people is they just simply they go in with a place of they're in total fear and they don't even question because it's almost like they think it would put them in maybe a place of more fear. They're just going to go through, do the treatments the doctor suggests, and they don't even ask questions. I mean, I personally know a lot of people like that.
Right.
Don't even ask the questions. They just simply, they'll do whatever their doctor says without, rolling out the whole carpet of what exactly am I doing? What am I getting into? I mean, I know not everyone is inquisitive, but people need to be inquisitive and they need to be their own advocate. To me, that is so, so, so important. So yeah, that's really good.
Their personality type isn't as such, at least if they have a family member, a spouse, a mate, a friend that can cut past that and go to ask those questions. It comes with them to their appointments or treatments or whatever to be their advocate. At least they've got somebody on their team that's looking out for them.
Yeah, and you know what I have to tell you? This is one of the most interesting conversations I've had with someone because I mostly talk to people who are in the alternative field and in the Eastern realm. And, I think there's such a division still. That's why I really wanted to talk to you and help people bring this together because it's not about being afraid of one modality or the other. Like I love your story about bringing in the Eastern medicine and some of the Eastern modalities to help you get through what you needed to get through to get to where you are. So it's not about what's right or wrong or bad or good. It's what's right for each person.
And everybody's different.
Everybody's different. And to me, there's no judgment ever. There shouldn't be any judgment no matter what people choose. So, because I know there's sometimes people that I've talked to over the years, because I've been doing what I do for a long time, they'll have some big situation like cancer or something come up, and they'll take a herbal supplement into their doctor, their oncologist, and the doctor will be extremely negative. And I've even had people say that their oncologist will say, if you take those things, I won't treat you. And that's to me where the disconnection comes in.
Absolutely.
So
it's really about trust and that connection with whatever caregiver it is.
Yeah.
Really, that helps make it work out better, for the most effective care.
I completely agree. And so, that's one of my favorite things. So, we could, like I said, we could talk for a long time. I want to give people a really kind of a tidbit, but this is a really digestible book, you guys. The Cutting Edge of Compassion. And so if you have some comments below, leave them below this video. I know I monitor the videos very closely, and we can even probably get Dr. Rose to take a look at if anybody has questions for you, Dr. Rose. In fact, if you want, give me some thumbs up, hit the like button. And if you want me to bring him back and ask him some more questions, let me know. We wanted to make this a little chunk that was digestible. So is there anything you kind of wanted to add before we wrap this up?
No, my book outlines some of the deficiencies, and it's story-based, so it's fun to read.
Yeah.
Funny stuff in there, and there's some good stuff. So it isn't a bunch of didactical stuff that's boring.
No, it's good. In fact, the thing I love is when you start reading this, the first part of this is your story, how you grew up, how you got into medical school. And, honestly, it's really interesting to me when you said in the beginning, I came from a dysfunctional family. Well, every family that I've ever known or been a part of is dysfunctional. We're all dysfunctional in our own way. So that is really the normal. So it makes you real. It makes, sometimes medical doctors, we put them on a pedestal, and rightly so, you earned your place, like your story of getting through medical school, that is worth reading this alone. So this is a really amazing book that can help you navigate a few things, help you have faith in human nature to come together and bring what's best of everything that we have available to us using medical technology, using all of these remedies that are coming back from Eastern medicine. I think there's a real surge. And I love that your beautiful wife has gotten you into the realm of some natural healing. That's pretty awesome.
Right. Well, Jane, we're all a team together, patients, doctors, healthcare providers, herbalists, Eastern practitioners, healers. The goal is that we all get better.
Yeah.
And there's things that need to change in the system.
Right.
And it's going to take all of us together to bring enough awareness out there about what we need it to be with insurance changes and all those things. And if we can all rally together, we can make a difference. We can make some transformational changes, hopefully, in our system that's got some issues right now.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Anyway, I'll be glad to do this again, and I'll be glad to answer any of the questions that come my way. And I hope everybody, if they get the book, enjoys it.
Yeah. Now we're going to put the link. Is this going to be on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, and they can also go to my website, which is drbarryrose.com.
Perfect. Okay, so there'll be a link below this video where you can go to Amazon and get the book, or you can go to his website and get the book as well. It's a wonderful book that will give you faith in the human spirit and the human nature of us being able to take care of ourselves in this great, crazy, busy modern world. So thanks again for listening. Thank you, Dr. Barry Rose, for coming on this beautiful Saturday. We're here on a Saturday afternoon. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.